Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, Party Leader, Party officers, and fellow members of the Democratic Unionist Party. I'm sure, like me, you're ready for the fight that lies ahead in 5 weeks' time. This party is in good spirits, and we look forward to the election campaign, and we look forward to polling day and to the night of the results. This is one of the most unpredictable elections that there's ever been in the history of the United Kingdom in terms of a Westminster election. Everybody is on saying that it's impossible to say what the outcome of this election is going to be in terms of the numbers of seats for Conservatives, for Labour, for Liberal Democrats, SNP. But there's one thing that they're saying is that when it comes to Northern Ireland, they're sure that the DUP is going to come out on top. Now, we don't say that ourselves in any sense of arrogance or complacency. We recognize that the people have the final say when it comes to elections. They have the final say in terms of who represents them. And we do not take for granted a single vote. We go out on the doors, and we are a party that actually knocks the doors and talks to people, not just at election time, but all year round. We will go to those doors and we will speak to people. And I am convinced that they will recognize the record of delivery of the DUP, not just at Westminster, but in the Assembly, in the European Parliament, and in councils up and down the land. Because this party is a party that will stand up for Northern Ireland, stand up for unionism. It's the only party that offers a clear vision for Northern Ireland and offers the leadership to ensure that that vision is implemented. And it's the only party that has that effective team to implement a plan for Northern Ireland here in Northern Ireland and at Westminster. And in a few minutes' time, our party leader will outline the details of our plan for Northern Ireland. We are already doing a great deal, but there is much more to do. And we have a clear plan as to how we can move this province and move unionism forward. In terms of the next 5 years, the Westminster Parliament, our national parliament, will matter more than ever. Momentous decisions lie ahead for whoever is in power and whoever is a member of that parliament. We have enormous challenges on the global sphere in terms of the threat from Russia, the terrible happenings in the Middle East with the rise of ISIS, and the threats that exist to our very fabric of society with the rise of global terrorism. And we need a strong United Kingdom in order to ensure that that threat is met. We have big issues to do with the deficit. We have massive issues about the budget for Northern Ireland. These are issues that will be decided in Westminster. In terms of what happens to the block grant, that will be decided at Westminster. The balance of taxation as against public spending cuts, that will be decided at Westminster. Welfare, which we're grappling with here in Northern Ireland at the minute. But the big decisions and what is passed on to Northern Ireland, those decisions come first to Westminster. And some of the very worrying things that we're hearing at the moment about proposed cuts and plans for further cuts are issues which will be of direct relevance to the people of Northern Ireland. And people in Northern Ireland need a champion at Westminster who will fight the battle for the disadvantaged and the deprived across the province. And of course, the big issues such as immigration and how this country deals with the issue of our relationship with the European Union. I am proud that this party has been in the forefront of the campaign for a referendum on the European Union before anybody else was. I remember, and those colleagues from the House of Commons, I remember well the vote that was held a couple of years ago when 81 Conservative MPs rebelled, and we joined with them to demand that there should be a referendum on the European Union. And the greatest opponent of the European Union referendum at that stage was David Cameron. Now, of course, he's saying that he wants to have a European Union referendum and a referendum on a relationship with Europe. I welcome that. And I'm glad to see other parties coming in behind that. But make no mistake about it, on those issues, the DUP has led the way. Now, in terms of the polls, as I say, they're predicting a hung parliament. They're predicting that the various permutations, I saw an article yesterday which said that in about 6 or 7 of the relevant permutations, the DUP could play a decisive role. And our job is to maximize the opportunity, not for the DUP, but to maximize the opportunity that this presents for Northern Ireland and its people. That is what we go to Westminster to do, to deliver the very best deal for Northern Ireland and our people. And we must maximize that opportunity. How do people in Northern Ireland maximize that opportunity? By more votes for the DUP, more seats for the DUP, and that means more influence for Northern Ireland. That's the clear message as we go into this election. Others, Sinn Féin, well, they don't go to Westminster. What possible relevance can they have? I watched with amusement their demands to be on the debates. Imagine debating in a national debate on the future government and role of the United Kingdom Parliament when they won't even go to Westminster and take their seats. Others are too small. What on earth influence is the Alliance Party or an independent going to have at Westminster? The SDLP, they're already in the pocket of the Labour Party. They've sold their vote already. The DUP uniquely is in a position that it is saying to both Labour and Conservatives, we're in neither of your pockets. We will do the best deal for Northern Ireland, come what may. Now, we can point to a record of delivery even in a situation where there wasn't a hung parliament, even in a situation where there was a substantial government majority, because over the last 5 years, with 8 seats in the House of Commons, we have achieved the devolution of air passenger duty for long-haul flights for Northern Ireland. We have achieved lower electricity prices as a result of negotiating an exemption from the carbon price floor tax. We have secured at Westminster an extra £200 million and more to tackle terrorism. We have retained our assisted area status. We have helped to campaign and win a freeze on fuel duty, highlighting energy costs. We've been fighting for a referendum on our relationship with the EU. And we have been the party that has been bringing international issues like the persecution of Christians across the world to the attention of Parliament and to the nation. And we will continue to fight on those issues in the next Parliament as well. So the DUP delivery, not just at Westminster, but delivering in the Assembly, delivering in councils, delivering in Europe. And we ask now, humbly, the people of Northern Ireland to give us their votes, to lend us their votes, so that we can maximise the opportunity that will now exist, as has never been offered to us in a generation, to deliver more for Northern Ireland. And to that end, of course, we have entered into a pact with the Ulster Unionists in 4 constituencies to ensure that we do maximise the opportunity for Northern Ireland and the Union. And I think, as I've gone around in recent days, the people in the Unionist community have been lifted up by the fact that this has happened, that there has been this measure of agreement to try to ensure that instead of having Sinn Féin Republicans representing constituencies, or should I say misrepresenting constituencies, not going to Westminster, instead there is the real prospect of ensuring that Unionists, and they're also glad to see that in East Belfast there is a real opportunity now to ensure that once again that constituency is represented by a Unionist who will represent the majority of the people who live in that constituency. And all this talk about sectarianism. Of course, when Sinn Féin talk about having a pact and offered a pact with Sinn Féin and begged the SDLP for a pact, that wasn't sectarian. That was progressive. That was pro-equality. That was all about moving things forward for the Republican agenda. But when Unionists do it, of course, it's sectarian. This is a word that's bandied about. There's nothing sectarian, friend, about being a Unionist. Nothing sectarian about being a Unionist. The people who are sectarian are people who went around murdering people of another religion and indeed of their own religion because of their political beliefs for 30 to 40 years. That's sectarianism in its most raw and naked form. So we go forward into this election in good heart, with a very, very strong record of delivery, and with a very, very strong message of optimism and hope for the future. We are not people who come to the next Parliament with a begging bowl. That's not our attitude. We don't come simply asking for more for Northern Ireland. Now, let me make it very clear. We are Northern Ireland MPs. We are Unionists. So first and foremost, we will always put the interests and the demands and the concerns of the people we represent first and foremost. And that is where we are concentrating in terms of delivery out of the next Parliament. But we are more than that. We have a vision for the United Kingdom. And that's why we've been setting out that in terms of the next Parliament, we will, of course, be seeking more for Northern Ireland, and Peter will be dealing with that in a few moments' time. But we will also be seeking a forward progression in terms of our agenda for the United Kingdom. A stronger United Kingdom, battling back against the nationalism of the SNP who would want to break up the United Kingdom. A stronger United Kingdom in terms of defence spending and support for our servicemen and women. Tackling the deficit, yes, but in a compassionate and caring way. No bedroom tax, for instance. That's the policy of the DUP. And in terms of Europe, strong borders, dealing with immigration, and a referendum on the European Union. We have a policy and a set of proposals and a vision which is clear, which is dynamic, and which will deliver for Northern Ireland. Let us grasp the opportunity. Let us get out there and ensure that every single person hears about our record of delivery, and make sure that every single one of them gets out and votes to maximise the opportunity for Northern Ireland in the next 5 years. They can do that by voting Democratic Unionist on the 7th of May. Thank you.